Assalamualaikum guys, welcome to another character breakdown video. This time we are breaking down Gogeta Blue, one of the coolest additions to the Dragon Ball franchise and Fighter Z roster as well. We are going to go through the usual template of specials, normals, neutral and assists to cover all of his tools and break him down into TOD size so that players can understand him. Let's get into it. So starting with specials, Gogeta Blue has 4 specials. 3 of them are actually you can do them in the air, and one of the command grab you can only do while you're in the ground. So we're gonna first start with the soul strike or the flying knee, that is quarter swing forward. All of the attack button, that is this flying knee that he does. It is a sort of a rekka that you can continue after pressing button. The light one is the shortest as like this, but even if you whiff, you can still continue the rekka like this. It is a free flowing rekka like Blue Vegeta. The longest distance is the EX version, which goes the full screen. And it is not a free-flowing rekka. If it connects, then it will do the full of the rekka into the overhead kick. And if it connects after a combo, or if the opponent is caught off guard by it, then it will give you a sliding knockdown or a wall bump. So as you can see, even like Blue Vegeta, his rekka cancels can be of any of the buttons. Like for example, I can start with light, then end it, then the mid part can also be with medium, and the ending part also medium, or light medium, the medium ender, or something like light stuff like this. Or you can just directly cancel the overhead kick by cancelling the rekka shot by immediately inputting a heavy like Yamcha's Wolfang Fist. So his rekka is a lot of free flowing stuff, has a lot of free flowing stuff to it, so this is pretty good. And you can also use it for mix up because the frame because one of the rekka enders, mid rekka enders, that is the medium mid rekka, it actually keeps you airborne. So you have a dash option after that. You can backdash of course as well. So this is 50/50 that is newly acquired. The only true rekka is the light rekka and the heavy rekka, the EX rekka, that is. These two soul strikes are actually true on block. There is no gap in between them. As you can see, there is no reflex, and this one as well is the same. But the mix up, people like to do, for example, light into the medium version, but that actually there is a gap between it. So it is a really small gap, but there is a gap in which through you can DP or do anything between those. But you can, as I said, cancel like stuff like this. So there is no gap in between that. And yeah, that will be another thing is that this literally travels full speed, so it is also a true block string with the Kamehameha that it has. So yeah, that would do it for the soul strike or the flying knee. The next special is a quarter circle back attack button, that is the rising vortex. It is his invincible attack that has 3 forms again, like every other every other specials. The light version is actually just jump attack and invincible. It doesn't have full invincibility. That means you can call assist during this move. But unlike only the medium version and the EX version is actually a true DP to invincible move. That means it is invincible to everything in the game. Only the light version is jump attack invincible, so you can do stuff like this, which is, I don't know why. In terms of the medium and the heavy version, you cannot do this because they are true DPs. You can definitely call it after you have after the attack is, but during the attack you cannot call it. As you can see, I've called an assist, but there was no interaction because it is a true DP, and a true DP and it means a true DP. You cannot call the assist. The DPs are like similar in the air. They all have air invincibility at the bare minimum, and the heavy and the medium version have full invincibility in the air because they are full invisible DPs. Or the medium version gives you a smash, sensor smash, which you can use to do combos and stuff. It reaches really far and like gives you a full screen combos, to be honest. The heavy version in air actually crosses up, and you can either end it with a Dragon Rush if you don't have super dash, or you can super dash confirm, as it should be pretty obvious. So if you are in the air, you can if provided if you have the reaction, you can anti-air them with using any of the GP. So that's also a pretty good thing you can use for neutral. And yeah, that would also conclude his Rising Vortex special. So, onto the quarter cycle for special button. The multiplex after image. This is the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta does this while mocking Omega Shenron by scaring him. So the Gogeta calls out like after images, and he picks up Kamehameha if you hold the button, but if you do not hold the button, he throws a Kamehameha with a sliding knockdown ender. You can choose either of the three positions you can choose to take either of the three positions of the after image. Like if you hold back, then you go to the mid-air left side. If you hold up after inputting the multiplex after image special, then you take the position of the Gallic gun. As you can see, the back one gives you a Kamehameha, and the upward one gives you a Gallic gun downwards. That is the special like stuff. So you can fake them out using stuff like this. I mean, you can fake the after images out, and you can either take any of the positions, either choosing to unleash the beams or not, and then using the float properties, you can use it to mix up stuff like that. Because now there's a universal float, so it opens up for like tricky visual mixers, but they really don't use they don't really give that many true mixers, but they are like really good visual trickery. But on startup, the Gogeta actually takes the position of the original one, the one in the ground. If you get hit at that time, that means you'll just get hit, even if you chose the airborne ones that are far away from Gogeta. Like I actually chose to be airborne, but during startup he actually remains there. But if they actually challenge late, then they can miss it. But there is a frame of window where he's not in those positions yet, and he's still on the ground. So if they mash immediately, then you're gonna get caught. But if they give you the time, then you can actually avoid their mash attempt and do some other trigger stuff. So the multiplex after image is a great way to actually be free from the negative frames from the beam. By doing this, you actually lessen your negative frames that you're in. So like if the super dash at you immediately after a beam, or like try and run up on you, can avoid those or two-edge those promptly. As you can see that it gives you enough time to like super dash even. You can do stuff like that. So multiplex after image is a pretty good cancel after a beam to keep yourself safe from the negative frame. But of course you can always do this, which is like a 2-on block. This is actually pretty stupid, but at the same time pretty cool as well. So yeah, that will be for the multiplex after image technique. Onto the last special, it is the command grab that Gogeta Blue has. Is the full screen command grab called the Soul Punisher. Quarter cycle back special button will give you this move. This is a pretty sick looking command grab, to be honest, the sickest looking in the entire game. So this is a full screen command grab starting on 24 frames from close. 24 frames, believe me, 24 frames. Okay, 25 frames, I give up. Yeah, it's okay. 25 frames on close and 32 frames from like full screen. But having a full screen command grab definitely means you can catch people off guard when they're landing. For example, when they're floating and they land, you can capitalize those opportunities to like catch them off guard when they land. So it's a pretty good option. Standard, but not the greatest option that Gogeta has. You can you're also plus after block, plus after they get hit. That is, as you can see, you're +5 they get hit. So you can there's like a lot of reset opportunities here. So that's also pretty damn cool. So yeah, that will conclude his specials. So starting with Gogeta Blue's normal on launch was actually pretty horrible, and he was getting memed, and he was pretty infamous for those. But he has now received some of like really good buffs to like all of his normals across the board. So we're gonna be showcasing them first, starting with his the jab, the L. It is a multi-hitting jab of two hits, that is. Starts up at 6 frame up close and -3 on block, and it's a double hit, so it's pretty good. It also reaches pretty damn far and is pretty active because it's a double hit. And yeah, as you can see, this is the maximum range of the first jab. The second jab is the gut punch, and it's -10 on block, so you shouldn't stop there, to be honest. And the last hit of the auto combo is actually an overhead. It's -5 on block, so it's pretty safe. And you also have air options after that. Yeah, something like this. You can then of course also cancel out into stuff like that, but a note of sorts that this is actually 2Hable, just to be clear. So no matter how quickly you do it or how late they can do it, it is 2Hable because it's anti-airable. So be careful of that. Don't manage the auto combo too hard. Unless if they catch on, then you'll get punished easily, to be honest. Then there is crouching light. The crouching light is I'd say has gotten the best buff out of all. First of all, it's now 9 frames up close. It's one of the faster ones, so you can do actual 50-50s with this. And round start, it reaches from round start position. It is not the maximum range. It can reach a little bit from far. And if you can range it properly, then you can decrease -frame to like almost 0. So it's a pretty good normal for like Blockstrings. You can also do it light into stuff like that. The standard way. You cannot do LL into the croucher you cannot do the crouching light after the second hit, but you can do it after the first hit of the auto combo or after the jab. Or you can do the crouching light into jab, and then go into mediums and stuff. So then are his infamous medium button. The medium buttons are the largest buttons of Gogeta Blue. Actually no, the down, medium and heavy is the largest buttons of Gogeta Blue. But yeah, medium button also reaches far, also has a great range. It also has a great verticality as well. It reaches from round start. That is the maximum range I believe it can reach from. Round start is, I believe, the maximum range it has. After that, if you move out a little bit, then I don't think it reaches anymore. Yeah. As for the verticality of that button, I think it reaches somewhere. Yeah, it reaches pretty damn high. I mean, a full normal jump can be, as you can see, the full height of a normal jump can be stopped with this. You mean, at least you can catch them off guard, so you can get a better minus jump. I don't think, yeah, that will be the, yeah, I think that should be the max range for this. Yeah, so a full jump, you can catch a full jump, so you can time your button correctly to catch people uptaking, but it's a bit of a risky option. Then onto his famous button, the torpedo. The down medium is probably the one of the more farthest reaching button he has in his arsenal. I think apart, yeah, it's the farthest reaching. The farthest reaching button in his arsenal, it actually travels, I think, somewhere, let's say round start, 1 backdash. Okay, no, 1 backdash is too much. So half a screen, almost half a screen. It travels almost half a screen. As you can see, this much distance, I believe it crashes. Yeah. So again, with the same as much as you can, if you can extend it the farthest distance it can go, you'll get your minus frames will be less. But of course, it has a really bad minus frame. And up close, it's actually pretty fast as well. It's only 12 frames. The standing medium is in 11 frames standard. These are pretty standard, to be honest. But the mediums are both unsafe on block, so it's better to cancel into something like the multiplex after image or the soul punisher or just the Galligans or Kamehamehas. Then his heavy button, 2 steps back. Yeah, I think round start 2 steps back, I think, is the maximum range for this. So that is the maximum range of this button. Then onto the down heavy. The down heavy. Oh, by the way, just because it vanishes, just because there's a vanishing animation for this, it doesn't actually have any kind of invincibility. That means anybody pressing a jab at the right time actually will catch it. Like, so the 2H has a bit of both, and it's got a really good verticality. So you can almost catch, you can almost go to the height of the super jump, but it doesn't actually go there. It's a bit lower than that. You can catch people after a bit below the peak of the super jump. So it's a pretty damn good button to just catch people. I mean, preemptively 2H and then using, preemptively 2Hing and then using the multiple after image to do stuff like that. Damn, that was pretty first, to be honest. But I didn't even know how you could do something like that. So yeah, that's also a really good button. The special buttons are the Kamehamehas, and The Kamehameha, the special button is the Kamehameha. That's a full screen beam, one hit beam, and the down special is the Galick Gun. On the ground you can actually cancel the heavy into a special like this, or into the Galick Gun. On the air, however, you cannot do the same thing. The air you cannot cancel into special into air normal or special into heavy. But here you can do special into heavy stuff like this, so you can mix it up and do that. Of course, the beams aren't a part of a true block string. They can be reflected and then mashed up on. But the beams aren't a part of true block string, as you can see. It can be reflected if you do not cancel into any of the buttons afterwards. So be careful to mix it up by doing the heavy button, the order in which you throw out the beam, or just use the command grab. But you have a lot of reflect proof strings, so you don't really have to worry about stuff. Like for example, even if they reflect the beam, you can still delay it a bit, and you can still be reflect proof. They have to double reflect because it's not the part of the true block string. So yeah, the beams also have a special property where the ground beam on the corner can actually be jailed into super dash. Actually super dashing after a Galick Gun is not a true on block. So you cannot super dash after Galick Gun though. It can be 2H now. Before you couldn't actually, but they've kinda nerfed it because since they set up the moves attack and stuff. Gogeta has a lot of like reflect proof string, and I wouldn't say he has really good staggers, like except for his jab. Other buttons aren't that good. It's -5, and also they're pretty telling. The animations are pretty telling and like slow, so it doesn't really help his case either that the animations are like so long. You can also cancel the second animation quickly by the command grab before the second jab animation can finish. So of course you can do stuff like that. A typical true block string would something be like this. This is a true block string all the way through the end. There wasn't a single gap. Even stuff like this is also a part of a true block string. As you can see, that I did the medium part. That's why I got denied. The famous one he has going for him right now is doing the true block string till the first light rekka. Like for example, like this. This is part of a true block string. So light rekka is part of a true block string. Then light in cancelling into medium. To get the air options available, and then going to a 50-50 high-low. It will look something like this. At the same time, because they know that there is a gap there, so you can also fake out your fake out the rekka, and you get a easy punish, right? And something like that. So yeah, you can also fake out the mix-up attempt, and there's another like tricky overhead option that is like almost invisible. You have to pay attention to Gogeta closely. For example, if you go and then use medium to instantly cancel out into the EX version, like medium instant cancel to EX, you get almost an invisible instantaneous overhead. Not instantaneous, it's pretty slow, but it's pretty hard to spot because there the blue aura or the blue lines actually doesn't come out till Gogeta starts to kick with his knee. As you can see, for the light version it comes out instantly because it doesn't travel back, but the medium version there is a moment where the blue lines and still doesn't appear, so you can use that as a tricky diversion to like instantly go for an overhead option like that. Of course it isn't the fastest option that Gogeta has. For example, like it's I think somewhere about 26 frames, but even then you can easily catch people off guard, considering how much people actually get caught with his 2M and are afraid, and he's afraid of his 2M because goddamn this button reaches from like miles away. His soul strike is actually -8. That means it is unsafe on block. But they have to challenge it almost immediately for the unsafe to actually work in. But if you actually do the whole of it, then you are safe to block it because it's -4 only. And you can actually, I think, you can actually backdash a lot of jabs because he gets spaced out really well as well. The main button of note of like the jumping buttons is gonna be the jumping medium. It has a lot of active frames, and there is a meaty setup that Gogeta Blue has with his jumping medium button, where he can fall down with a jumping medium button from the air and it's a meaty setup. Your opponent cannot 2H, up tag, back tag, run out and do anything because it's a frame 1 setup. So it is a 2Hable deep invincible, or like you cannot invincible move your way through out of it, or up tag your way out of it. So it's a pretty good meaty setup that you should use, giving you a guaranteed situation and a safe option to continue your pressure. So learn this meaty setup. It's pretty simple. You just have to be aware of which knockdown you have and time your jump a bit, because Gogeta Blue has like different knockdowns, and depending on that, just time your jump and then fall with the medium button, jumping medium button, and you'll get the meaty setup. It's a pretty cool setup. So use this well, to be honest. That'll do it for the buttons and block string section of the for Gogeta's character breakdown. Onto Gogeta's neutral. Gogeta actually, as I said before, goes to the hit school of neutral, where he plays neutral with his normals. He has like big ass normals, as we just discussed in the what you call that, in the normal section below. But I actually did not mention the AR buttons. The AR buttons are actually pretty good as well. The medium, they're actually mainly better tools for neutral, so I think discussing them in neutral is actually a better option here as well. So yeah, as I said, the hit school of neutral, where you zone with your normals. So of course, having such like long having such far-reaching moves, you can use them to like dash up and then do buttons, so you almost like you don't have to even dash up properly to them and then use the button them. I can't even face it up properly. So dashing up and then inputting the heavy button will actually give you a bit of momentum shift. Characters in this game actually get momentum and use that to travel a bit farther than when they're standing. So running up and then inputting the heavy button actually will allow you to get a bit more range than you normally get. As you can see there, the air heavy. This also travels really far, like almost round start, then one backdash, almost one backdash. So round start 1 2 3 would be good enough. So as you can see that, but it is heavily minus on block. So the best option would be to do this, get a Gallic gun into just back out using multiple after image. So as I said before, the Kamehamehas are like pretty negative. He also has the special button with Kamehamehas and like Gallic gun. Also the multiplex after image, which also acts like a normal beam as well and into a follow-up. The entire thing is actually true. Also another true block string, also a switch neutral part, is the Kamehameha into the EX Rekka. So if you're able to time your assist correctly, then you don't even have to think about them having a chance to do anything. As you can see, I had like lot of time to do whatever. Plus for but if you don't want to like engage them and wait your ground, then cancelling out in the multiplex after image in neutral is actually a pretty good option. Even if they super attack immediately right out of the gate after blocking your Kamehameha, if you cancel out into multiple after image, you can engage them or tap their super dashes. Range like this, you can still block in time. You don't have to worry about that. But I guess you won't be able to 2H. But of course you can always just not do that. But and you can definitely do this. So and plus after cancelling out into the multiplex after image, you also have the option to just DP them if they rush at you with super dash. So I also actually consider the multiplex after image to be a good neutral tool, like the cancel at least. So the beam is actually heavily negative on block. So if you don't cancel out into either the Rekka or like do anything and just stand there, you can of course vanish. You can vanish out because it's a single hit beam, so that's a pretty good thing. But if you do not vanish and just stand there, you're actually punishable. I was holding block, just to be clear, and was just still smoke me. As you can see, a full screen move that is pretty fast will smoke you. As I said, a full screen lariat or something that is fast enough to like reach go across the full screen will punish you if you do not take any initiative to either vanish or do anything else after the beam. So be careful about how you use that. And of course, it doesn't work like a normal beam of vanishing after jailing after vanish. So that thing like is much more better, to be honest. Yeah, so that'll conclude the neutral section of Gogeta Blue. Onto his assist. His A assist, the super dive kick or the JH of like Gogeta Blue. That is basically this. It's a full screen assist, got beam hit stun and everything. It's also like mediocrely fast, 30 frames. It's pretty good. It's also got a really good wall bounce as well. It's got a really good wall bounce, so you're gonna have a really easy time confirming for like combos and stuff. The A assist I'd say is a really good neutral assist. As you can see, you can do stuff like this. So it's a really good assist. I'd say you should keep this as your main assist. Not gonna lie. Like I'd say this is the best assist. I personally consider this is the best assist because it's practically a beam with a wall bounce as well. So because you also get easy hit confirms and like a good combo ender. And a good wall bounce into a easy knockdown, easy conversions as well. So I personally prefer the A assist, but of course onto the B assist. The B assist is like light DP, to be honest. This is something like this. Also this this got really buffed. As you can see, it has now 85 frames of advantage to convert. This is why a lot of people are like considering this asset. Also the fact that it is pretty fast. It's 19 frames up close. Like it's just 20 frames, below 20 frames as well. So it's pretty fast. It comes down pretty damn quickly. You have practically the entire time in the world to just convert it, run up, do stuff like this. Or you can actually, I think, 2H confirm as well. Like I think Baby can 2H confirm of this. Yeah, Baby can literally just 2H confirm of this. So you can understand like the amount of hit stun it has now, 85 frames. That's a second and like some milliseconds. So like it's a pretty good hit stun assist. So it's a pretty damn good hit stun assist, as you could see. But the lacking is that it doesn't have as much block stun as the A assist. So that's a shame. If they're jumping and you call them and they block it jumping, then the hit stun increases. So depending on how you call that, you might get a really good block stun opportunity. As you can see, when they were in the air, it's 41 frames because they blocked it in the air, because they blocked it in the air and stuff like that. So it's a pretty good like super dash and like call assist, that kind of stuff. People like it for this reason specifically, because super dash assist because it's only to 19 frames. Most use cases are like this, so it will catch a lot of people, not gonna lie, because it's pretty damn fast and you don't expect it. So super dash assist, for that one, actually this one is, I'd say, is a better assist. So depending on your preference, say A or B, you can go for any of those. On to the last, everybody's favorite C assist. Not really, to be honest. His C assist is the Galligan, 45 frames. It doesn't even have the same amount of hit stun as the beam assist, so it's got the worst. It's practically got the worst block stun out of all of those. And also it doesn't really do that much it doesn't really do that great of a job at tracking. As you can see, it's pretty damn easy to avoid it, to be honest. And like the hit stun isn't that much either, but of course since it tracks, you can also do combo conversions pretty damn easily. But to be honest, it has a really bad hitbox as well and stuff. So if you prefer it, then it's up to you, but I'd say this is the worst assist out of all of his catalog. But other than that, like, I don't know, it's not really a good assist in terms of assist choice. I'd say his A or B assist would be able to do what this assist does better, and you don't even have to wait for the cooldown as well, the new cooldown. So I don't know, if you prefer it and if you want the neutral to be much more easier and like catch people off guard in the air, then CS is the way for you. But so yeah, that'll be it for the Gogeta Blue character breakdown. Hopefully you guys enjoyed and learned something from it, hopefully, and it helps you pick up the character much more easier and reach mastery much more faster, I guess. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please do subscribe, and thank you so much for watching, and leave your thoughts in the comments down below. If you have any questions, leave those also in the comments down below. I'll try and answer them if I know them, or I'll try and get someone who actually knows that. And yeah, so I'll be seeing you in the next one. Enjoy the comment section, and yeah, Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.
Get out of here!